The curse of the kumakatok, an ancient entity from Filipino folklore that represents death, starts if you hear 3 knocks at your door in the middle of the night, and then 3 figures of death will come for you and your family, explains Red. When Mikhail Red got the green light to direct another horror movie and a maiden project under Evolve Studios, which he put up alongside production company Viva Films, he was certain of venturing into folklore horror, a subgenre he has yet to explore in his body of work. In every film that I make, I try not to box myself in. I always aim to learn something new, whether in terms of theme, execution, tone, or treatment, he says. Taking cues from horror titles like Ringu and It Follows, the Filipino director wanted to create a film about a curse that gets passed on, anchored on Filipino folklore and notions of grief. This fixation led to Nokturno, out October 31st on Amazon Prime Video, his latest team-up with Gawad Urian winner Nadine Lustre, following the success of the techno-horror leader at the 2022 Metro Manila Film Festival. In the story, Lustre takes on the role of Jamie, a migrant worker returning to her hometown following her sister's demise due to a primal curse brought on by a supernatural creature, the so-called kumakatok, that has seeped into the lives of her family, which she has grown distant from. The curse of the kumakatok, an ancient entity from Filipino folklore that represents death, explains Red, starts if you hear 3 knocks at your door in the middle of the night, and then 3 figures of death will come for you and your family. Adds the director, I love the idea of a ticking time bomb, of impending doom. It adds constant tension to the narrative and a certain momentum to the story as you wait for time to run out and the finale to arrive. With this project, Lustre is poised to become one of the most bankable muses of Philippine horror, apart of course from Beauty Gonzalez, the star of the Netflix zombie thriller Outside. Red, meanwhile, approaches his 11th feature film with Lilim, another in-the-works project under Evolve Studios, set in the 1970s and 1980s Philippines. A teaser for the film, which sees Red's first collaboration with his father Raymond Red, has been released. In Nokturno, Red also assembles his frequent collaborators, his cousin Ray Red, co-writer of Birdshot and Eerie, and his brother Nicholas Red, writer-editor of Dead Kids and Deleter, to work on the script and editing, as well as his previous actors, such as Eula Valdez, Neo Manila, and Ku Aquino, Birdshot and Dead Kids, cast alongside B. Bainin, Wilbert Ross, and J.J. Quilintang. Ahead of the movie premiere, I spoke with the director about his eye for horror, collaborating with Lustre, and where he wants to take Evolve Studios. The conversation has been edited for clarity and length. Let's backtrack a little bit because I'm curious how your interest in horror or in genre movies at large began, and how you developed your directorial voice through it. What were the movies that became formative for you? I began making short films in high school using a mini DV camcorder, and I found myself drawn to visual storytelling. It felt natural for me to gravitate towards a film language that emphasized visuals. For me, horror has always been the perfect outlet for emotions that words failed to convey. I found it very universal. Fear is an emotion that can transcend language. Even in my early years, I loved watching foreign horror films like Ringu, The Eye, Pulse, The Descent, Lake Mungo, and many more. When I finally got my big break in mainstream cinema with Star Cinema, I had the opportunity to finally create a horror film titled Eerie. As a filmmaker, I've always believed in the philosophy that genre can serve as a powerful vehicle for delivering messages to a wide audience. I felt that horror, being so universally relatable, was ideal for this purpose. In Eerie, I explored the clash between modern psychological approaches and traditional religious beliefs, centering around a guidance counselor trying to save repressed Catholic students. Fortunately, even with a bleak tone and AR-13 rating, the film was a commercial success, allowing me to continue my passion for horror filmmaking with studios that had the distribution system and machinery capable of reaching large local audiences. With horror, I am not just interested in the artistry of it. It's also about craftsmanship. I absolutely love the filmmaking process. Horror has so many moving parts, requiring a strong, collaborative team effort beyond just the director's auteur vision. I find elements like post-production, sound design, prosthetics, stunts, and especially cinematography deeply fascinating and exciting. These components and departments all work together to create the chilling atmosphere that defines the genre, and it always feels exciting working on every moment of bringing them to life. Given the commercial success of Deleter, your first project with Nadine Lustre, was this follow-up already a no-brainer, or did it still take the both of you some convincing? It felt very natural for us to continue working with Nadine Lustre after the awards sweep and box office success of the 2022 MMFF with Deleter. Deleter's big win was a very rare and special moment, and we felt that it would be great to continue our collaboration. At the same time, Evolve Studios, a joint venture company I put up with Viva Films, was born, with the sole focus of creating interesting and cinematic genre films for the Filipino audience, in hopes of diversifying the film slate that is available to the local audience.